Yeah, I think they will. Yeah, I think they'll go with it. Just fine.
Yeah, you'll sit next to me.
Thank you. No, I knew I was going to get in trouble from Stacey.
Right, yeah. These are a hard wall.
Channel 7 probably. You got to tackle sometimes if someone's talking. Is that the visuals here somewhere? Yeah. You asked me something today.
Yeah, the new one. Similar sidewall to these.
Yeah, same sidewall to the top.
The other one's completely different sidewall to clutch it all together.
Right.
Well, maybe.
No, the same as that. Yeah. It's sort of someone anyway.
Turnbull up on the inside has gone through from 5th and looks like he might go off. And Scott Rose, the two cars go right. Scott. We don't know where bus coming down the main stage. Scott Rose, Turnbull on one side, Cobb on the other side of him, and just came into the plant as it got a little bit hard. Turnbull on the outside as they go into all four wrecking corner. There's a battle for first and second. There's a battle for third and fourth. Andrew Reid leads the field down underneath the Dunlop side, and looks like he's got about 2, maybe 3 cars. Come into second place, and can Rigby get it going before Max Cobb comes down? Winton Turnbull on the outside, relegating Max Cobb back into 4th place by a short half head. Only by the second place.
Yeah, Larry.
Hey, where? No, we just out 40 minutes before the race.
Yeah.
Second of brag, mate. Oh, I know. It's
Got the extra trophy.
Can you get somebody with a rag? Once
too far apart. So I got a bit. I thought I had it in the bag for the last few laps, and then on the last lap I got tangled up with a back marker. And then later on, John Bow spun in front of me, and I didn't know which side to go. So, well, we finished about sort of 2 or 3 car lengths apart. It was really good. I'm beginning to like it.
He's on his way over. Get your flag to the level, please. Yep.
What a fantastic race. It's quite one of the more enjoyable races I've done in a long time. I think for me, it was quite challenging because of course started on the left and finished up in the drive. And Rocky wasn't far behind. The last 10 stages were all quite exciting. I must say that Freddie Gibson and the crew made the right decision at the right time to change tyres. And that's what lost the race. Rocky elected to split and did stop. And there was only sort of 50-50 over the decision, so we made the right choice. Everybody seems to think that this is my home track, that I only race this is the Nissan's across the road. They've been talking about Nissan's winning here at Winton for probably 2 or 3 weeks now. It's come true. I think, it just proves what a fantastic car this down really. Well, George, to make the presentation to you, I'd like to introduce to the Winton microphone, Mr. Shell, John Rowe. Yeah, thank you very much. George, congratulations. A fantastic race, a different race, and I'm very well to win by you and by this. Michelle, congratulations. Hope you like well, mate. Thanks, John. I'd like to thank Michelle for everything that's done for the sport over the last few years, and Robbie got the bottom line, and we're all enjoying motor racing with him. Congratulations to George Fury. Well, he got pole position with a fantastic time. Hear it for Peter Brock. Come on, Brock. This is a pretty exciting television viewing. I did start on wet weather tyres. I had to stop after about, 15 laps. And I put it on a set of groove slicks, which actually wore out towards the end, and I was really riding on the canvas here the last couple of laps. And almost got in European. It was a fantastic race, and I think that's what touring car racing is all about in this country. We haven't seen enough racing like that. He's hoping round 8 of sponsors party with Bridgestone equally so. Well, here to make the presentation to you, Mr. John Rowe once again. Well, today Rocky was sandwiched in between the little Ford Sierra. The Sierras have been winning all year. This must be a thrill for you coming from the smaller category last year.
I think that cars today proved how good they were, and our reliability and the speed that we run through cars has been incredible.
It is a very, very big effort running 3 cars. Mr. John Rowe, once again, to make the presentation to you.
Mark, congratulations on a great race, and as a new member of the team, I know it's very exciting for you. It's also very exciting for this Mr. Ronan, and really great result for this. I'm pleased to see that over everybody has arrived, all the people here. Well done, Mr. Lawson.
Ivan, a really great result for Nissan.
Oh, we're very pleased. Fred Gibson and his team have done a marvellous job. George, Mark and Jim and the cars, of course, and we're very, very pleased.
It's really proved the reliability of the Skyline and very much the faith that the Nissan has had in the team all year.
Yes, we've had faith, and Fred promised us that we'd improve our reliability even more this year, and his promises come true. The cars have stayed on the track and done a wonderful job, and the rewards have come today.
And a good result also for young Mark.
Yes, Mark is one of the younger members of the team, showing a lot of maturity on a very testing track today, and we're just very thrilled for Mark Scaife.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. As long as you're pointing at them, you don't...
Paul, today's win with something like Skyline GTS2 coming out of special vehicles, it must mean an awful lot to Nissan.
Well, it does. I think both George and Mark drove a superb race today. I think it reflects the performance of the Skyline car in all conditions. The car has a good balance of performance. Certainly engine power is good, handling is fantastic, and of course wet weather grip was great with those Yokohama tyres. Yeah.
It's a fitting reward too for Nissan with its perseverance, with its faith that it's had in its racing team, hanging in there and really mixing it up with the Sierras all year.
It's been a hard year for us, as you well know. We've had a lot of problems with outright power with the Sierras, but I think a track like Winton is very suited to the Skyline. I'm pleased for the team particularly because they've done a fantastic job this year, and I think the rate of reliability of the cars is second to none in any of the teams.
What does it mean for special vehicles with something like the GTS2 about to be released?
Well, I think it's an enormous fillip for the program in that all of a sudden we're getting a race win on the cars, the GTS2 coming out, and the heritage, of course, of GTS2 based very strongly on a race program.
So it makes it really worthwhile.
Absolutely. Just one win like that makes everything worthwhile, and I hope it's the first of many to come. You've got to remember we've got the long distance races coming up in just a couple of months, and they are based on reliability and durability and not outright power. And apart from Jim's off today, every race we've started with, every car we've finished. And that's been the plan all year. So our game plan is going well for us, and I believe the Skylines will be right up there, right through the long distance races. Absolutely.
Congratulations.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mark, congratulations, a great race.
Thank you very much. It was a very busy race, and I think it showed how good our team was, really, to be able to run 3 cars on a day like today. Sure, my radio wasn't working, so I didn't come in quite at the right time, but still very busy.
When did you know that you'd stitched up a placing?
Well, I thought Gricey was fairly high up still, so Grice was the target. I got Grice when it was still wet and on wet tyres, and then when I come in and made a change, went back out on slicks, I knew Grice was again the guy, so I sort of had to go and march up to Gricey. And obviously AG makes that Commodore fairly wide, so that took a fair bit of getting around.
What was the Skyline like in the conditions where you went out on wet and then it became dry? It must have been fairly difficult driving.
It was very difficult, especially passing slower cars. My car was great, but you come up to the slow cars and they'd wave you to pass on the wet line, and if you're on slicks there was just no chance in the world that you could pass them, so it was really very difficult.
Quite a test also for your temperament. You came through extremely well.
Well, I suppose it's a bit of a test for young guys in days like today, but it's another day to put down to experience, and sure, I can look back and there's mistakes I made, but it's not very often you're happy with your drive, and I was fairly happy today.
Congratulations again.
Thanks, mate.
No worries, great. Fred, it's always nice to say I told you so, and you've been saying that the reliability would win through. It certainly did today.
Well, it really showed up today, and I suppose I've been telling the company, I made a big bet with Alan Handberg that I would win a round somewhere in the touring car championship. Thank God it was today. It's got that load off my mind now. But no, the cars were reliable. Anything that's happened today, our record of starting each car at each race and finishing with Jimmy's accident over there, that puts that to rest, sort of thing. But cars went reliably all day, which is sort of part of what we're all about, and they were competitive. And it really, I suppose, if it had been dry, I think the cars would have still won. So whether it was wet or dry, the cars were very competitive here. And that sort of didn't surprise us at all. The whole thing is it's me making a decision, which I don't like doing because I believe when this car starts in a race, the driver does the job. But in that sort of race today, you really got to sort of, I had to call the drivers in for their pit stop to go from wets to dries. That's a very crucial side of the race. And Mark didn't have a radio in his car, and for 10 laps I was calling him in, so when he wouldn't come in, I brought George in. But if Mark had to sort of come in, and please, it wasn't his fault, he was very busy trying to catch Alan Grice. But the thing is, if Mark had come in early too, I think we would have finished first and second, but first and third's better than nothing.
It was a great result, though, for the racing team. A great result.
Well, it'll lift the guys up and lift the morale up of the team. We've been knocked pretty hard the last few rounds, and sort of where we thought we'd go very well, things haven't gone our way. And you need a bit of luck, and we had a bit of luck today. And I think getting ready for the long distance races, that's our forte, really. I think the car's going to be super competitive and sort of should do well at St. and Bathurst.
So what do you think that today proves so far as Nissan Motorsport is concerned? What was the real result? result today?
Well, the real result is we can race Sierras, and I think if it had been dry here today, 74, we could still race Sierras. We had 450 horsepower today. It's our best engine we had in the car. That doesn't mean much on a wet circuit, but like on a dry circuit, it means a lot. And by Oran Park, I think we'll have another 10 horsepower. So we're closing the horsepower gap, and I've always said we're lacking horsepower compared with Sierra, but we're closing that gap, and when we close that gap, then naturally we'll be more competitive, especially the red cars. And it would have been nice to see us lap the red cars today, but they didn't let us lap them.
Anyway, look, congratulations, a really superb result.
Thank you very much, appreciate it. Thank you.
George, congratulations. A difficult race?
Well, it was very varied, if I'll put it that way, because it started in the wet and finished in relatively dry conditions, and we had to make the right decision about changing tyres at the right time, and it all worked out better than anybody else could do it, any of our competitors. And congratulations to Freddie and the boys for doing what they did, and the Yokohama tyres worked really well, and we've proved that our Nissans are competitive here in the dry as they are in the wet.
How do you feel yourself with a round of the championship under your belt with a victory?
Well, as you know, we haven't had a really good year last year, and this year has been better, but for me personally it hasn't been a particularly good year, so it's been quite important that for me to do a couple of good races this year. So this is the first one, and I hope, probably Bathurst, I hope that we can do it again. And I think we've got a car for the long races to do really well with, because I believe that the Sierras are outpowering us in the short races, but in the longer races they won't be able to have as much power on board, if you like, as they have now to make the cars last. And I think we'll be very close to them, and I really look forward to long races and giving them a curry there.
When did you know that you had the race won, that the race was yours?
Well, I had sort of probably about 8 or 10 laps from the end when I had Brock in my sight and I knew I was catching him very fast. I thought I was pretty positive that I was going to catch him. And then as I came up to pass him, of course, he had a lose, which made it sort of easier for me. But then over the last 2 laps, and particularly the last lap, I got held up by a lot of back markers, lapping them and that sort of thing. And Brock was sort of catching me all the time. And then on the very last corner, John Bauer had a lose. And he was directly in front of me, and I had to choose the right side of him to go and not lose too much speed so that Brock could speed past me. But it all worked out well, and I was more unsure on the last lap than I was sort of to begin with in the race.
It must be a very busy race when something like that is occurring, when you've got changes in weather conditions and you've got slower cars to contend with and a very tight track, so you'd be working all the time.
Oh, well, you'd be working all the time, whether your direct competitor is right behind you or right in front of you or whatever, but it's not easy. But in these varied conditions, I find it quite challenging, and we've got to be able to drive the car in different conditions, and the team is involved in making decisions as far as the tyres are concerned, and it's more a team effort really, and I reckon that's nice.
What was the thought that went through your mind when the checkered flag fell and you went through first?
Oh, bloody beauty. Yeah, I mean, as I said before, I've been looking forward to it. I knew that here at Winton the Nissans would go well, whether it was dry or wet, and I was hoping that we'd come 1, 2, 3, and I didn't really care in which order, but I'm glad I won.
Tremendous, congratulations. Thank you. Jim, perhaps a little bit disappointing on a personal level, but a great win for the driving team.
No, well, yes, I know, probably a bit disappointing, but not really. I mean, these things happen, and if you get too upset about it, you wouldn't bother going out. So, no, I'm very, very happy for Fred and the team, and especially George, because he's had a couple of probably bad runs during the year so far, and that was really good that he won it, and especially for Nissan, it was great.
And it was good also to see Mark getting up there too.
Oh, no, terrific. Excellent. No, you know, Mark's a really good little driver and he's going to go a long way. But third was great.
When you came into the team, of course, it was the reliability, it was the performance of the Skylines that always impressed you. What do you think was proved at Winton here today?
Well, really, what was proved was that on a circuit like this, our cars are better than any of the opposition. Wet or dry, our cars were going to be the quickest cars in the race. Now, if we hadn't have won here, it would have only been through something silly. You know, with 3 cars there and 3 drivers capable of doing the job, it was inevitable that we had to win. I mean, the 3 of us knew that one of the Nissans were going to win, really, because over that distance, even in the dry, our cars were lapping faster than the opposition.
So, where do you think Nissan Motorsport heads from here?
Well, I mean, I don't really know. I mean, you'd have to ask Fred that, of course, but I hope it goes from strength to strength, and I hope that we're out again next year with another car or whatever. But I mean, the year isn't over yet. I think that we can even probably win at Oran Park. But then we've got the long distance races to go. So you know, it's the year is still young, and it's got some very, very important races to come, which I'm sure we can do very well in.